It's a little dark, isn't it?
Tilt it my way a little bit. I think it's all right. Here. Let's see my face.
What if we turn it this way?
Yeah, I think that's a little better. You know, yeah, and then you don't want to have the window in the back. That almost creates more of a glare than light.
Yeah. If I get in here and kind of block the window,
It's fine.
scooch over a little bit. I need this in case I get it. All right. This is like I'll call it the Moody edition. This is our. All right. You ready?
You go back and cut this part off at the beginning later?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
It's all private right now. So then when I get done, then I make a copy and then I make it public.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Matt and Pat Sports Chat. I'm Pat. He's Matt. We're going to chat about sports. I've used that 2 weeks in a row now. That was better.
It's working for you.
The first time it was just off the cuff, baby. But now I'm using it. We're here at Shenanigans on the bucolic west side of Sioux Falls. And as always, very thankful for them for allowing us to come in here and invade their space. We had to use a little bit different space today. So we
There's
got
people in here. It's a busy lunch crowd.
Yeah. We got a different mood going today with the lighting, man. I like it. And you
I'm repping the colors.
yeah,
See?
look at that. So you should explain to the people this.
Yeah, this would have been back in the old location at the mall.
Yep.
They sponsored an amateur baseball team I played on in 2003, I want to say. So that would make this the 20th anniversary. 2002, 2003. It was at least 20 years ago. And the only thing that was rough about it is if a bar sponsors your amateur baseball team, you kind of got to go drink beers there after the games, and we were nowhere near the mall. So and plus our team sucked. So we would get beat 17-1, and then the coach is like, "Hey guys, want to go to Shenanigans?" Like, no, we do not want to drive 10 miles across town to drink beer after we just got our asses kicked. But we did it once in a while, and it was a short-lived sponsorship. Our fault, not Shenanigans. So appreciated it then, appreciate it now.
It was the Sioux Falls Brewers.
That was the name of the team. There's not to be confused with the current Sioux Falls Brewers, who have won multiple state championships. This team never made a state tournament. So,
well, at least
we let them have the name though. We didn't trademark it or anything.
At least you got the T-shirt.
Yeah.
As our old colleague Peter Harriman, you say, already got that T-shirt. Yeah. Do it once, you don't need to do it again. Hey, how you been?
Good.
Yeah.
It's. I went to the lake for Memorial Day weekend.
Nice.
And, a lot of times in South Dakota, it's still 58 degrees in late May. You know, that it's been in the 80s every day. That's nice. Then get outside and.
Yeah, we got, you'll usually, you want to try and go do things outside on Memorial Day. But in many, many, many cases, it's cold and rainy and windy
doesn't
and crappy.
Cooperate. Yeah.
This year, it was gorgeous.
Yep. Yeah, I got a sunburn. It was nice to get out there and do some grilling and fishing. Didn't catch anything, but summer's officially here, even though it's not officially here.
You should wear some sunscreen.
I know. I used to be that guy that would be like, I'm just going to go out the first hot day and just burn to a crisp and just suffer for a couple of days, but then it'll turn into a night. And that always worked.
Yeah.
But then someone told me, like, you're going to get cancer doing that. Stop doing that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, yeah. You're a little bit,
I'm not a ginger. So,
I don't tan. Patty don't tan, if you know what I'm saying.
You're a human crab. I get it. Yeah.
But you can brown up a little bit.
I can a little bit.
My wife, who is, very well, comes up on this show occasionally, I'm of Northern European heritage. She is of Eastern European heritage. And by the end of the summer, she refers to us as a biracial couple.
I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. So enough about me. You have had some cool. You wrote a Twins column. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Just like this was just a.
It was not on the schedule.
No.
I had not budgeted for it. Yeah.
I love that. I wrote a Twins column because I'm so mad.
I mean, going back about 10, 15 years, that's kind of how those Twins columns materialize.
Oh my God.
We were actually watching a couple of the games at the lake last weekend, and there was the one on maybe, I don't know if it was a Sunday or Monday. I think it was Sunday. They had a 4-1 lead going into the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Sonny Gray's cruising. They take him out after it gets a couple runners on, go to the bullpen, which sucks. Their bullpen's terrible. Guy comes in, gives up a grand slam. Astros take the lead. And for 4 years, I've been not really enjoying Rocco Baldelli's tenure as the manager.
You were tough on Rocco.
But I've usually stopped short of actually saying get rid of the guy.
Yeah.
I've just kind of been bitching about him.
Yeah.
But after that grand slam, I was like, all right, I've reached my breaking point. Fire Rocco. It's got to go.
FireRocco.com.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to have that URL by now, but maybe we should look
And
into
it's
that.
funny, the Twins did come back and win that game.
Oh, really?
And I'll give them credit.
Yeah.
Like that was part of why I was starting to lose patience is not only are they underachieving, but they seem to not have a lot of fight, you know?
Yeah.
And in that particular game, they fought back. It's like, all right, fair enough. And they've won a couple. They just, right after that, they won 2 out of 3 from Houston. And now last night, the same thing happened again. They were down 6-3 going into the 7th, came back and won 7-6. So maybe it was that Matt Zimmer tweet. Someone got it back to Rocco Baldelli that he wasn't lighting a fire under his players' asses well enough.
Yeah. Well, you did give him seven things to work on. So people can go read that column.
And
right
they,
here
and they can do all those things without, I mean, I kind of said in the column, they're not actually going to fire Rocco. So here's some things they can do.
Yeah.
And hopefully I think some of them they will. Some of them they kind of already know they have to do. They're just dragging their feet on it. And that's what pisses me off so much.
Yeah.
If you know you're going to cut Max Kepler because he's washed up and there's a rookie ready to do it, then what are you waiting for?
Right. You're
just
not gonna
do it.
You're not going to save any money.
Yeah. You have to pay him one way or the other.
Do they think that somebody's going to, I mean, he makes too much money to trade him, right?
I mean, $8.5 million isn't that much anymore.
Yeah.
If there's a team out there that looks just like, hey, all of our outfielders are right-handed.
Yeah.
We need a left-handed bat.
And he's a good glove.
He's a good glove. You know, I could see it. But you know, right now he's blocking other players who are better than him, and they're struggling to score runs. You can, if you have someone ready to come in and help your struggling offense, and you're not calling him up because, well, we got this other guy. That's just stupid.
It is dumb. That's not the way. It's a cutthroat world out there, Rocco.
Yeah. And how many of the other things they're going to do? You know, I don't think they're probably going to fire the hitting coach. And I don't know if that, you know, really makes that much of a difference. But when you see how many young hitters are not progressing, you know, Jose Miranda was a Rookie of the Year candidate last year. He was supposed to be a middle-of-the-order guy this year. He lasted a month, and they sent him to AAA. Isn't that the hitting coach's job? To teach these young guys how to have better at-bats, to help them work through slumps? You just give up on the kid and send him to the minors?
But I didn't know this, that the hitting coach is like the personal hitting coach for Correa. Right.
But
he's got
all the more reason to can him then, because Correa's been terrible.
Yeah.
And I can get it. Correa's like your golden boy. You don't want to piss him off.
Yeah.
But he's signed to a 6-year contract.
Yeah. Where's he going?
He's not going anywhere. You're not, but also you're not going to bench Correa because he's the best shortstop in baseball, and he's carrying his weight because of his defense. But to me, that's a great way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Get rid of the hitting coach because he sucks. He's not doing good work. But also light a fire under Correa. Like, oh, you like this guy, huh? Well, he's gone. So figure it out.
What do you think now,
Yeah,
Correa?
figure it out. You're making $35 million a year.
Yeah.
You're relying on some Canaries reject to teach you how to hit.
That was
come
weird.
on.
I did not know. That was a strange connection.
I mean, he played like A-ball, double A-ball, and the Canaries were his last stop. He was here for like 2 weeks and couldn't even cut it here, and that's when he retired. But he that was his last playing experiences with the Sioux Falls Canaries, and now he's the Twins hitting coach, and it's not going well.
That's wild. So they're basically, are they still like game ahead? No, what's
2.5.
2.5.
Because the whole
League sucks.
Detroit's in second place at 3 games under 500.
Oh God.
And the thing is, the Twins could probably do nothing, and they'll probably still win the division.
Yeah.
Just because the rest of the division's so bad.
But
But I said that last year too.
Yeah.
And eventually Cleveland woke up and won the division by 10 games.
When you're only up by a few games, you know, anything can happen. That's not good. They should be 10 games ahead.
They
by
should.
now.
They absolutely should. And their lack of clutch hitting has cost them games. but the bullpen has obviously cost them games. Sometimes it was the right guy didn't do the job. Other times it was, Rocco, what are you doing? But it's not like, oh, Rocco should go because he keeps making bad pitching changes, or Rocco should go because Carlos Correa is hitting 205. No, Rocco should go because he's 180 and 200 in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
He's not winning anymore.
Right.
Yeah, he got manager of the year in 2019. That was 5 years ago.
If it doesn't,
it's about results.
Yeah, and don't you feel like it's got to be getting to the breaking point?
No, they just signed him to an extension apparently.
What?
And here's the kicker: they didn't announce that.
No,
Like the Twins apparently signed Baldelli to an extension, never made a public announcement, and some blogger or like the
really.
MLB trade rumors or somebody got wind of it and reported it. That to me says a lot, that the Twins didn't even have the balls to publicly say like, hey, we signed Rocco to an extension.
Yeah,
That tells me they know that he's not popular. And I'm not saying you should let the fans determine who your manager is.
right.
But geez, Rocco replaced Paul Molitor, who is a Hall of Famer, one of the probably 50 greatest players of all time. And also, by the way, a local boy, Minnesota product. You get Paul Molitor has a leash this long, apparently. But Rocco's the guy. Oh, we can't. Poor Rocco Baldelli. We couldn't possibly. I mean, that just doesn't make sense.
Oh man. In other news, you have a story that'll be up soon about USF and some stuff there, which is very interesting.
Yeah, if you remember this past football season, SDSU's football team, they have an organization called the JFPA, the Jackrabbit Former Player Association. Been around for a while.
Yep.
Ryan McKnight, a Sioux Falls guy, who was an All-American offensive lineman for the Jacks, kind of got it going with the idea of raising money for the program. And this was even before NIL came along. But just to try to give more resources to the program. It was also a way to kind of, get alums together, create some pride and fellowship and whatnot. And it really took off. And then especially this most recent season, it blew up because they're going to the national championship. They're making a big trip down to Frisco. John Stiegelmeier and his staff really embraced the JFPA. And the big sort of story was they were the ones who bought them the new helmets. They had those white helmets.
Yeah.
Which they wore all through the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. I know they wore them at the national championship. They're really cool helmets. And they had come to Stig and said, what's something you don't have that we can pick up the tab for you? And he was like, you know what? Everyone else has an alternate helmet. We don't. That'd be cool. There you go.
That's pretty cool.
And is that why they won the national championship? No. Are they going to get more recruits because they have another cool helmet? Probably not. But it definitely is just another thing that you kind of add to the total picture. So they win the national championship. This JFPA thing continues to blow up. USF had already kind of looked at that and said, maybe we should do something like that. And then when they saw how much it blew up in this past year, they said, all right, not only should we do that, we should see if those guys can help us get off the ground.
Well, that's a good idea.
And they did. Alex Anderson is a USF alum, played wide receiver back on their national championship teams under Kalen DeBoer. He's kind of running it. He reached out to Ryan McKnight, or at least that organization, got a couple like, hey, just give us some pointers on how to get it off the ground. Long story short, they have one of those now too. And it's obviously a lot different because SDSU is a big public institution. USF's a tiny private Division II school. But it's been a huge hit. You well know USF is kind of known for their football team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what USF is about. And they've had so much success in the NAIA era, but they moved up to Division II and they're still very good. And just because of the success they've had, the pride in that program, the alumni base has always been very, very strong. I still run into USF football alums that I covered 10, 12, 15 years ago all the time. And every time I see them, we have a long conversation, talk about the old days. A lot of the USF alums stay in Sioux Falls after they graduate. So they're everywhere. You would get the sense that USF is a bigger school if you just based it on the football alumni, how prevalent they are. So it's kind of a no-brainer to get that going. And so, now that they're starting to take off, they're going to be, I think today they're having is the Sid shootout, the USF golf tournament in honor of Sid Kortemeyer. They're out there for that. And then tomorrow is the celebration of life, they're calling it, for Bob Young. It's essentially kind of a public, I don't want to use the word funeral, but, sort
it's
of
a memorial.
Right. Yeah. Because he died in the middle of winter. They couldn't really do anything to honor him then. So a lot of USF alums are going to be coming back into town this weekend for the golf tournament today, the Bob Young thing tomorrow. So it's called the CFLA, Coup Football Legacy Association.
I'm glad they used coup.
Yeah,
It's
and
kind of dying there for a
it
while.
is a little bit. And another cool thing about it is the SDSU one, the JFPA, is players only. It's very much like you have to have played football here to be a part of that. Not to be exclusionary. It's just that's how they've built it. USF said, we're a little bit smaller. Maybe we should be more inclusive. So they're kind of opening it up to fans, boosters, anyone who wants to support it. They've already started begging me for money. So I told them I'm a sports writer. I don't have any. But yeah, it's off to a good start. Alex and I go way back, so it was good to catch up with him. And it was funny. I looked at the names on you can go to their website. I think it's coollegacy.com. And the names of everyone on the board of directors, like linebacker, defensive back, all guys that I covered
That's pretty wild.
back in the day. And so, yeah, that's a really cool thing. And I'm hoping to make it out to the Bob Young thing tomorrow and probably see all those guys
Where is it?
at the stadium, Bob Young Field.
Cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a great story. It'll be online soon if you get to this before I get to that. But look for that very soon. It's right now we're sort of in that lull time, but there's been news because of the small schools.
Yeah.
I mean,
Augustana keeps winning. Yeah.
we talk so much about USD and SDSU. Some, not that we ignore the Sioux Falls schools, but there's been a lot going on. And your story this week about Augie baseball, I knew it, but I didn't really realize how good they've been for so long.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
It's been 10 years now.
Yeah.
And they were I would say an average Division II program before Tim Huber got there.
Mhm.
They had some good years under Jeff Holm. But when Tim got there, it was kind of like, okay, build this thing. And he built it. And what's even more amazing is people don't understand. I think a lot of people think, oh, college, those kids are all on scholarship. They have 7 scholarships for the entire roster.
That was pretty shocking.
And as recently as 5 years ago, they had 4. They won a national championship dividing 4 scholarships among 40 players, 35, however many it is. And they're putting guys in pro ball, guys that are getting drafted, going on to the independent leagues. And if you go to an Augie game, I think that's the biggest difference. You can read in the paper that, oh, they're 40-15, or they won the conference, or this guy has a 2.20 ERA. All that sounds great. But it's the eyeball test. When you go to a game, their pitchers throw 90, 91, 92 miles an hour. Their hitters consistently hit the ball over the fence. They average more than a home run per game. And they're big dudes.
Yeah.
When I played amateur ball, I played amateur ball forever, but when I first started playing amateur ball, a lot of my amateur teammates were Augie baseball players. Yeah. They looked like me.
Yeah.
They were 5'10", 190. You go walk into the Augie dugout now, and it's like this. They're all 6'4", 6'5", 210, 220. Agile. Big dudes, athletes, that can play multiple positions, that were star football players, star basketball players. I just can't say enough about the job Tim Huber has done. And full disclosure, he's a friend of mine. We played amateur ball together for a long time.
But he's got the results.
But geez, to win a national championship, when he came to Augie, I guarantee you that was not on the radar. They didn't say, come here and win us a national championship.
Right.
Win us conference championships.
Yeah, and it's baseball.
We're up in the north. You're not supposed to win national championships. Be good in the conference, get to the playoffs, and you're doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
They do that every year now, and they have a chance now to win their second national championship in 5 years. They were the first northern school to win one ever.
That's crazy.
And now they have a chance to do it again.
And you had in that story about who's in it's 8 teams to make it, right, to the D2 World Series. It's in North Carolina.
Yep.
Starts when? Saturday?
I think it starts, Augie's first game is Sunday, but I think it starts Saturday.
So, but there's, I think
Texas, Florida, South Carolina,
New Hampshire, or somebody's in there. But other than that, it's all Southern schools. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. You really, and this year especially, when they won it in 2018, it was that year or the next year, SDSU had an opening because their coach went somewhere else. And I know Tim was a candidate there. I was surprised they didn't hire him because, he had just won a Division II national championship right down the street. Rob Bishop's doing a really nice job over at SDSU, so I'm not at all trying to suggest that Tim should be angling for that job or that the Jacks should be looking at him. But what he's done this year now, this was a rebuilding year. Last year was the year they were supposed to get back to the tournament and win another championship. They came up short. They graduate almost their entire lineup. And so, like, okay, we're starting over a little bit this year. Well, now they're back there again with a bunch of freshmen and some transfers and a couple upperclassmen.
That's good coaching.
Yeah, you can say, well, good players are. I mean, it's the job he's done this year is by far the best job he's done. So I really have to wonder how much longer Augie can hold on to him. Now, Tim likes it here. His family's from here. He's not exactly looking to bounce.
Yeah.
But if some school, whether it's a mid-major, Summit League school, or somewhere in the MAC, or I don't know, the Big Ten, anywhere, like the record speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim, as recently as 2 years ago, was still one of the best amateur baseball players in South Dakota. I mean, not that necessarily makes him a good manager, but I think it helps, that he's still in it with his players. He knows what they're going through. He knows how to relate to them. He's a really great hitting and base running teacher because he's been doing it his whole life.
Yeah.
As recently as 3 years ago, he was still the starting center fielder for the Renner Monarchs. I mean, it helps to be able to work with your kids on having good at-bats, taking good angles in the outfield, how to steal a base. He's not just a guy who has an eye for talent and can recruit good players. He's a good teacher, too. I love playing with him. I would ask him questions all the time. I was a 35-year-old fat guy. It's not like I was trying to go somewhere with my baseball
but you
career.
Just want to get better.
It was just great to pick his brain. Like, what do you do here? How do you do this? And always had a good answer for it and could, explain it in a good way. So Augie should consider themselves really, really lucky if he hangs around.
Yeah, and so they play this weekend. There's 8 teams in it. Is it like double? How does it
double
work?
elimination?
Yeah.
They play the defending national champion on Sunday because they're the 7th seed. So again, they were the 5 seed when they won it in 2018.
Yeah.
So being a lower seed isn't necessarily a death knell, but they are the 7th seed out of the 8 teams.
And it's different a little bit with D2 because there's not a lot of cross playing.
Right.
So the seeds are important, but maybe not as intimidating as it might be.
Who's on the mound for you is probably the most important thing.
Yep, and they've got good pitching right now.
Seth Miller's 11-1, and he's one of the few seniors on that team. He's clearly kind of all the cliches, putting the team on his back, whatever. Like kind of, you saw it in the Super Regional when they had an elimination game. He threw 140 pitches to get through a complete game, and it was apparent he's like, I'm not coming out of this game. I'm getting us to the next game, and he did that. When you have a guy like that, kind of that workhorse, it's almost like the Jack Morris in 1991. We're gonna take you home.
And it's probably good to face. I mean, in this sense, like if you're going to face one of the best teams, the defending national champion, you're fresh, so you can put your best pitcher on the mound.
And they haven't seen you before; they're going just on whatever film they have.
And they're thinking, well, do we put our best pitcher on the hill?
I think they will, but I don't know anything about them. I don't know how many pitchers they have or whatever.
Well, that'll be crazy. We'll have to watch for that. Were you at the first game against Mankato in the Super Regional when they
had the controversial ending?
Yeah.
I wasn't there at the end. I was there for a while. There were so many people there. I brought Jen and Arthur. We left early because we couldn't really see.
Yeah.
And I was like, plus it was 5-0. It looked like they were just going to get beat.
Yep.
They scored 4 runs in the 9th inning to go from 5-0 to 5-4, load the bases. Yep. And I'm sure everyone's seen it by now. The kid kind of leaned out to try to get hit by pitch. It sounds to me like Augie is still a little salty about it.
Yep.
But outside, they're biased, obviously. It was them, but the consensus everywhere else is that it was the right call. Looked like the right call to me.
You can see him kind of turn into it.
Yeah.
But the sad thing about that was, and they won, so it's not that sad, but it was probably a pitch. The pitch was probably a ball. He's going to walk anyway.
Right, because it was a full count.
Yeah.
The one thing if it was 0-2.
Right.
That's kind of like, hey, it looks like I'm going to strike out. Let me try this.
Yeah.
But on 3-2, it could have just been a ball and same result. But
anyway.
Maybe it worked out in the long run because as angry as Tim Huber was in the moment, maybe he saw the replay later. It was like, oh, shit. Yeah, they were right. Because they did review it.
Yeah.
And if you review it and still call it.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you see the film, it's different than when it is live. I mean, it is.
But I think, and talking to the players after because they came out the next day and killed them.
Yeah.
8-3 and 16-2.
Yeah.
And they all said, like, that kind of pissed us off. A little bit of a fire under us.
Well, good luck to the Augustana Vikings in the D2 World Series. And what else is going on? Anything? What's coming up that we should be watching for?
I don't know, man. What is it coming up?
Not much. I will say that Saturday morning, 8 a.m., the Sioux Falls Live, this is our sponsor team, Sioux Falls Live Blue Jays, will be playing their first game in a tournament, U12 girls softball. This is our first tournament ever.
Where at?
Sherman.
Okay.
So we got 3 games on Saturday.
Ooh, that's a long day.
It's a long day, but the first one's at 8. They're 8, and then not again until 3:30. So we're gonna leave and come back.
Yeah.
That'll be good. But yeah, so that is happening. That's going to be pretty monumental. So let's all keep our fingers crossed on that one.
Good luck to the coach on that one.
Yeah, yeah. Good luck, coach. So thank you to Shenanigans for letting us be here as always, and thank you, folks, for tuning in. We will see you soon.
Next time.
Next time. Bye.